Speaker said.
Indicate whether or not the report will take into account those items mentioned in subsection 6 of section 161 of the Constitution.
Mr. Speaker, exactly my starting point in terms of the population.
Yes.
In terms of the population.
Yes.
Once the population is out, then you move to other issues. But the final census is not out. And how then can we go to do boundaries and communicate without the final census being out? What we have is a preliminary report.
What's your recommendation based on taking into account?
They were not supposed to even. Can I give Mr. Speaker, sir, that's why, if you heard me correct, I was talking about procedure, which is critical in us reaching to a logical conclusion. And procedure was not followed. The first is the population itself, the census. The results are no doubt.
Yes.
And then being out, it has an effect on planning, because how the wards come in, constituencies, boundaries, and all that. So to me, I'm saying they did not at all have figures of the census before even doing anything. I don't know if you now understand.
Now you are talking.
Okay, thank you, sir. So, in terms of that, the issue of the census being out, the final report, then that would then have to be able to plan properly. But I then move on to something which is critical. We know that the elections were coming. The various portfolio committees know that. And in portfolio committees, you know, Mr. Speaker said, we had oversight of all these institutions. At what point did we invite them, knowing that elections are coming? How far are you in terms of A, B, C, D? How far are you? And I feel that the portfolio committees did not play their role because oversight was the critical, because they're the engine room. And that would have gone and corrected. We seem to want to debate on something which should have been corrected already. The law is clear, and if the institution in particular is not following the law, you have portfolio committees who are responsible for inviting them. I did not see any portfolio committee, the Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, inviting ZEC and saying, ZEC, you are rushing to do this. Where is the census, the final figure of the population? And I'm saying this because if that had been done, a lot would have been corrected and would not be where we are right now. The budget and finance is also quite critical in terms of census, Mr. Speaker, because the population has an effect on the economy. Numbers, when you bring in numbers, budget and finance are in because of economic nature. They were also supposed to say, in view of planning in terms of the budget, the population figures are here. What do we do? That was not done, and I'm trying to say that Parliament itself was supposed to also ensure that the aspect of oversight by the portfolio committees is done, not to get here. I also want to bring in the COVID issue. It will be amiss for us not to understand the impact of COVID worldwide. The impact of COVID worldwide. If at all we were serious about these elections, we're supposed to consider COVID one that resources needed. Most countries globally, certainly have suffered from an economic point of view. Should we just have elections for the sake of having elections, or we should have elections following procedure? Elections are very expensive. What then happens to people in terms of the resources? So to me, I also feel that the COVID aspect was supposed to be factored in from a national point of view, from a global point of view. And indeed, while others would not agree with me, if elections had to be postponed because of COVID, so be it. That had to be considered at the end of the day because of the effect it had on the economy. Not only that, Mr. Speaker said, the very same members of Parliament were restricted from going to constituencies because of the COVID situation. You could not treat people. So how then can you push for elections when you are the key as you know, we couldn't because of COVID. So then, how do we then move forward without us communicating to the people and so on? So I felt...
Order, please, can the member behave in silence?
Yes, thank you.
So these issues are critical in terms of us doing so. Clearly, what the Constitution, Section 169, subsection 1, talks about 10 years in terms of delimitation and all that. Subsection Section 161, subsection 2 talks about in less than 6. You can't have election in less than 4 is not done in less than 6 months. Clearly, there's no point. If we're all doing our maths, it's going to come out, the final one is going to come out in less than 6 months. So what are we debating on? Because already we're in violation of the Constitution. It's in less than 6 months. Then you have to go back to the original boundary, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Speaker. So, less than 6 months, if you look at the calendar, the elections are July, August. And when is this report supposed to really be final? It will be less than 6 months. So unless there is someone who has some spiritual power of changing dates and the calendar and so forth, they must tell us that are they going to move the calendar forward or not? That's all we want in this parliament, someone who has that gift to say dates are going to change, continue. But already it's also a waste of taxpayers' money, because coming here, this is taxpayers' money, and people are questioning, where were we all this time? And why are we bringing it up now? We must serve the people honestly, Mr. Speaker. The other issue, Mr. Speaker said, which I think is quite important, is the issue of the elections. Elections are very important, and one of the issues about elections, Mr. Speaker, is to ask ourselves: does this process we are doing guarantee a free, fair, and credible election? Does this process guarantee a free, fair, and credible election, or we're just rushing to just make sure that we tick the box? But Mr. Speaker said, as you usually say with your favorite saying, it seems the horse had already bolted. It seems the horse already bolted. And from a legal point of view, this is where condonation appeals are done in view of circumstances beyond the country, COVID and all that. There's also the aspect of finance which I spoke about, which I think we don't have those resources at the end of the day. So Mr. Speaker said, my contribution really is, the horse has already bolted. The report has been submitted just on the basis of ticking the box, but if seriously we were looking at the Constitution, most of these issues were not supposed to be part of this August House because of our role of oversight. And I would say that we were not supposed to entertain this report. The various portfolio committees, like I said, were supposed to play their role, knowing that we've got elections and so forth. So I want to say, Mr. Speaker said that, other than that, the delimitation exercise is a very important exercise, but again, the population, the census, nobody knows what it is. So what really, finally, our members debating on when they don't know what the population is, because it is critical for purposes of planning and all that. So Mr. Speaker, I would like to really rest my case by saying that we need, from a procedural point of view, from circumstances beyond the country and the global economy, which really did not do well as a result of COVID, it was important for us to put that to the table. The dynamics, again, of the Ukraine-Russia war are also critical from an economic point of view. It's an unforeseen situation, and it being unforeseen, it happened. How has it affected, the economics of the country and so forth? Would we not spend this money in making sure that the wealth of the people is better? Food security, where are we standing? Or we just want to have elections, but people continue to suffer? That's food for thought. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.